Hello, what's going on people? Mr. Trick here. Hope you're all good. Today we're going to look at a breakdown of one of my latest tunes. It's called Julie London, by Julie London. It's called Cry Me a River, released in 1955 and made more famously by High Contrast, who made a tune called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from it. He sampled it, so I thought, why don't I sample it? Because the original is some jazz, so I thought let's just make a bit of a swing and bass remake and taking his influence into it as well. So I used easystems.com, which is a brilliant website that I have probably mentioned before. You can put a track in there up to 10 megabytes and it will break it down into 5 different parts, so drums, bass, vocals, other and piano. It's about 80% accurate, and I can't stress how good of fun it is to learn how to remix and stuff on there. Obviously I'd recommend warping or time stretching the track to your tempo first before you inputting it, because then you'll just be like time stretching all the drums or whatnot. So this is the original Cry Me a River, and I found out that High Contrast actually pitched it up 3. So that's so it pitched it up 3, which is pretty nice. Kept the warping on complete. The original tempo is 136. Whacked it up to 174. And then obviously the famous bit there, everyone will know. And then goes into this bit, which is lovely. And so I took this section. I'm going to try and talk over it as much as I can so people don't... so the old internet doesn't take me down. So voila, here is my Logic file. This is the track, this is the end result. So then it goes into the breakdown here. So this was the bit before that was bit before that track, that bit that I played you, which was here. I think I took different sections. No, it's just the bit before the famous and now. Why? What? And if I noticed that High Contrast took this little bit here and cut it and used it. So if you just listen to that pink bit. And that's what he used in his original. It was just like a little trigger joke. Which is quite fun. I also recreated the Pixacato Strings that he did. So I did them in Reason. There's a nice refill pack that's great for strings that you can use. Kick, I used Kick 2, which is obviously legendary. I'm getting used to this. You can pitch your sub sounds down here and your top end click pitch there as well. Left that pretty simple and open. Obviously sidechained it. Open hi-hat. And what I'm doing as well is I've chucked it into Trash 2 and gave it a subtle mix here. You've got a little crossfader. I think I used Warm Drive preset. I think that worked pretty well. Again, I'm only just about learning how to use this. I heard Selector J-Man does this sort of stuff. I don't know if he drives it into it and then uses the wet drive, or just does a parallel kind of distortion on it. Also, which is quite cool, I added this lovely static on the drop, or not on the drop, on the breakdown. And also I got my man Gambit Ace
Mr. Trick.
do a little plug with the echo. which was nice. Got a nice shuffle going on here, going little ghost notes that kind of just roll it into it. There I've got a little break here. Live drums, love them. I did a lot of the EQing in Ableton and then just plonk them in. I don't usually do this, but I just did the kick and the snare. I'd already bounced it in another project, so I just tried to keep this track really, really simple in that sense. And then, yeah, the tune is fairly simple. Sound-wise, on the bass, it's quite... I'm just going to play the drop for you so you can listen to it. So I went quite minimal on it. This bass sound, Renegade Master, massive, love Massive. I think it's just a bit more old school, and if you want to go for that sound, than Serum. And EQ'd it. Probably cut off the low, yeah, for the sub to come through. Slight tremolo, it's giving it a wobble, which is what I think High contrasted on his tune, because when I broke it down in Easy Stems I could see what he did, and then obviously I got the vocals from Easy Stems. So if I take the bass out, so, and then I had to chop all these vocals up to get to that point. Oh no. Yeah, so that you can see that is from the original. I didn't break down the Julie London track. I just did it straight from a High contrast because I think he did a bit more nice processing on the vocals. I have no idea how he got those vocals. He's a genius. Did a nice little squeaky sound at the top. Very subtle, but try it. I think Benny Page, no, not Benny Page, Benny L's done that in some of his tunes. He's kind of, and some other producers, they kind of give this kind of distorted, piercing sound, like on the top end. They're very, very subtle. If you listen to the tunes in a bit of detail, you'll hear him in the famous Benny L tune, Police in Helicopter. Yeah, that one. There's like and then yeah, the Renegade master bass sound, CLA, compressing the hell out of this. And this one, I haven't used this for ages. SDA enhancer. You just crank up the low a little bit, and it gives it a bit of warmth. And if I take that off, oh, my video camera came off for 2 seconds. It should come back on. So yeah, basically you've got the nice warmth with that on. With it on, with it off, it just saturates really nicely. Perfect for those Reese sounds. This is the sound that I use. If you want to grab it, pause it, take a look. Ooh, nice little select there. Bit of dimensions, that expansion. No distortion on this, controversially. I think I've tried, as you can see here. I've used Endless Smile as well, which is quite fun sometimes to send that. It kind of gives a nice magical glistening effect, but not on bass sounds, obviously. Actually, yeah, haven't used it. I've been trialing an error. This Milo sub sound. Used low air as well, which is great to give kind of I don't 100% know how it works, but it gives distortion and to the left hand side of the frequency as opposed to the right. So the low, this one, is to the right and that one's to the left. If I can demonstrate that, let's just A-B it. It's when you're, so if I take it off, so you see here from 42 hertz downwards there's nothing there. You stick it on and now look at it, all this area is nice and covered. I just gave it like plus 2.5 on that. You can be very subtle with this bad boy. So yeah, and then instead of using your standard sidechain, I used C6 around the middle area with the kick. Boom, boom. So that's great. And then another sidechain that doesn't look like it's doing much. Okay. And then yeah, I think I made it mono as well, which is cool. Then what else is interesting about this tune? What's this? Ooh. Just some little ooze. And what was this? This is like a rolling down, which is pretty cool. I done nothing to that, just left it raw. Hey. Yeah. And then we go into like a double time kind of shakers on this one. So we got, and then another live drum kit, and then what is and then some more. So it's like building up in the drums throughout this section. And then so I've used some of the so here is the vocals from the original, and then up here is the vocals from the restream from High Contrast. So compare that to, I think I prefer the original, but hey, I've done it like that. That's how it is. What happens here? Yeah, so I go into like a hip hop section in the second breakdown. And these are the drums from, they're the drums from the High Contrast track, which works quite nicely. It is a big breakdown. But yeah, really happy with it. Not much else to say. I've left all the mastering off just for the sake of today. I didn't want it to crash, but let's see if we could do it. Oxygen 5. I've used this cool plugin. Shouts to Dr. Mika. Advising on this one. It's amazing. You just switch that thing on, and it just brings the volume down. It doesn't really limit or mess it up. Got rid of the low sides. Then this is a great little plugin as well. I highly recommend this if it works. This has got the spinning wheel of death. It is Brainworks, kind of makes your stuff sound wider and louder with so it breaks the sides up for you've got your sides and then your mid, low and high, so you can bring up the sides on that. It's really, really cool. And you just use this knob here from there to there. It's great. I mean, I highly recommend this. It's super. It's all about subtlety on using this as well. Not overdoing it. Stereo spread. Not much going on. That crash is a bit loud. But yeah, big tip is always check your tunes in mono. Like, can't stress that enough. I think Jungle Cakes guys do that a lot. A lot of their tracks are quite heavily mono. I did a gig once in Spain, Alicante, and their rig, they had like 6 speakers, but it was all in mono. And I was like, oh, a lot of my tunes like need to be in stereo. But it just made me realise if your song sounds great in mono, you know, stereo is just a kind of extra. Yeah, and then limiter. Whoa. Oh, my latest thing I discovered is if you want to get your tunes sound louder, put a limiter on and whack that limiter right down and see what's coming out and sounding messy or sounding distorted, basically. Usually you find it's the bass or the sub. I've really sacked off using R bass recently. It used to be really good, but if you've already got sub, don't try and add more distortion onto that sub because it will come out in the master. So yeah, if I crack that down, it's really hard to explain because I've already done the mix down, but it's a good way to learn what is already distorting and what's too loud, because that instrument or that sound will bring down the entire mix. It's tricky to explain without having a better way of demoing it, but use it, bring it down, and then whatever's taking up, whatever's making the limiter drop, turn that down, and then everything becomes a bit more balanced, if that makes sense. And then obviously I used Magic AB. I AB'd it with Gardener's Good Times, Time Warp, Subfocus, Reet Petit, Ed Solo. Random. Yeah, Magic AB is a great little plugin. The loudness wars is probably one thing that I'm still not 100%. I think my tunes are probably 90% there in terms of loudness against other tracks. I don't want to beat myself up over it. Like, you know, they're loud, they sound good. You know, some DJs do use the trim and the gain in a mix, but some don't. Apparently, some drum and bass DJs would just mix and just not even change the gain. So the debate of how loud your tunes should be is an interesting one, and I think there's some producers that crank it and the stuff sounds great. So yeah, that's the tune. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it interesting. Please go to soundcloud.com or my Bandcamp and check out this tune. It's Julia London, Crimea River. This has been Mr. Trick doing the breakdown. Peace and